space representation. See, in our previous lecture, we discussed about state space representation using the example of chess problem. Now we are going to use another example of water jug problem and discuss the same. Okay. So, first of all, am I audible clearly? Is there some kind of my voice breaking down, or you're not able to hear it? Am I audible clearly to you, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm sharing my screen now. See, I'm reading out the problem statement for you. So what actually is the problem that we need to solve it, and we have to use state space representation for solving it. Okay? So the problem statement over here is that you are having two jugs. One is 4-gallon one and the other one is 3-gallon. Okay. So you are given two jugs, 4-gallon one and the 3-gallon one. These two jugs you can see on your screen. Okay. See, these jugs don't have any measurings or any markers on it. These jugs do not have any measurings or markers on it. There is a pump that can be used to fill the jugs with water. Okay, and what is our goal state? Our goal state is that you need to get exactly 2 gallons of water in 4 gallons. Okay, just a second, students. So the problem statement over here, just a second. See, the problem statement over here was that you people are given two jugs. One is 3-gallon one, the other one is 4-gallon. Okay. Now, these jugs don't have any measuring or markers to point it out that this much amount of water is stored in this jug. So, no measurings and markers on this jug. The third thing is that our goal state that we need to achieve is that we need to have exactly 2 gallons of water in 4-gallon jug. That is what we need to do. So now, if this problem statement is clear with all of you, then I shall move towards this state space representation. So is it clear to you? This one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. एक काम करो आप लोग स्टार्ट कर लो पैनल हाँ बस आप पैनल को स्टार्ट करो see state space representation so now see I'm notifying this 4-gallon jug with X and representing 3-gallon jug with Y. Okay, so it is very similar to the set of order pair. See, the order pair is X and Y. Order pair of integers X and Y. X represents 4-gallon jug and Y represents 3 gallons. So the possible values of X can be 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. The possible values for Y, that is a 3-gallon jug. Okay, Y represents 3-gallon jug. The possible values, that is amount of water that we can store in this particular jug Y, that is 0, 1, 2 and 3. At max you can store 3 gallon of water into the jug Y. So X here represents your 4-gallon jug. And what is the amount of or possible values, that is state space. Okay, what is the possible values for X? You can store that amount of water in jug that is 0. It can be empty, 1 gallon, 2 gallon, 3 gallon, and 4 gallon. For the similar thing is for the Y. So representation is clear to you that now I'm defining the informal ones. Informal ones were the 4 gallon jug and 3 gallon jug. But now I'm representing it in a formal definition, that is X and Y. Okay. Start state. See here I'm making my first assumption that at first, at initial state, both of my jugs, X and Y, the 3 gallon jug and the 4 gallon jug, both are empty. That is the first assumption I'm making it over here. Goal state. Okay, goal state is 2n. The possible values of n could be 0, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so acceptable solution over here, it is 2, 0, 2, 1, 2, 2, and 2, 3. The goal state is that we need to have exactly 2 gallons of water into the 4 gallon jug. That is, we need to just have 2 gallons of water in 4 gallon of jug. We are not concerned with what amount of water is present in 3 gallon jug. Whether it is 0, 1, 2 or 3. We are not concerned about it. So acceptable solutions along with us over here is 2, 0, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3. So n can be 0, 1, 2 and 3. Okay. Again, I'm representing all these things, you to concentrate. Okay. So here the state space for this particular problem, am I the state space for this particular problem is that I'm representing both the jugs as a set of ordered pair of integers x and y. X represents, कोई बात नहीं, आप ऑडियो ऑफ कर दें, मैं यहाँ से थोड़ा जोर से बोल रही हूँ.
મેમ હેલો.
हाँ बोल रही हूँ.
હા મેમ, પહેલા આમાં 4 લીટરનો આખો જગ ભરી લેવાનો, પછી 3 લીટર કાઢી લેવાના, 1 લીટર 4 લીટરના જગમાં.
सॉल्यूशन पे आ रहे हैं, अभी नहीं, अभी नहीं, ऐसे नहीं आना है सॉल्यूशन पे, रुक जाओ, ब्रेक मारो. ठीक है, अभी से पहले स्टेट स्पेस रिप्रेजेंटेशन देखना. So X represents your 4 gallon jug, Y represents your 3 gallon jug. Here I am teaching you how, if informal definition or problem statement is given to you, your responsibility is to convert that informal one to this formal one. So we are going to the solution, but first we need to go it by step. Okay. ये આપણે તમારી જોડેથી 124, 20, 21, 22 અને 23 વાળા બધા સોલ્યુશન તમારી જોડેથી લે. But wait करो. So start state. At the start state, I'm making my first assumption that at initially or when we are starting to solve this problem, both the jugs are empty when we start to solve. Okay. Goal state that we need to attend is 2n. N can be 0, 1, 2 and 3. Now these are the assumptions that I'm making before proceeding. So the first assumption I made was that at first both the jugs are empty. The second assumption is that we can fill unlimited amount of water from the pump using the pump into the 3 gallon jug and 4 gallon jug. Okay, that is what is वहां पे कॉन्सेंट्रेट करो, अंदर अंदर बातें कर रहे हो, मैंने देख रहा हूँ, दिख रहा है मुझे यहाँ से. So there are the second assumption is that we have a pump and using that pump we can fill unlimited amount of water into 3-gallon jug and 4-gallon jug. That was the second assumption. The third assumption over here is that we can pour the water from 3-gallon jug and 4-gallon jug onto the ground. Okay, we can empty the water from the jugs onto the ground. Okay? See why I'm calling these things as assumption, because these are not mentioned in your problem statement. So that is why these are assumptions we are making. We are assuming from the problem statement, but this is not explicitly mentioned in your problem statement. If I read your problem statement again, see, for a water jug problem, these statements are written. You are given two jugs, a 4-gallon one and a 3-gallon one. Neither has any measuring markers on it. There is a pump that can be used to fill the jug with water. And how can you get exactly 2 gallons of water into the 4-gallon jug? That is what is your problem statement. So this thing, that start state, initially both the jugs are empty. This is the assumption, because this is not mentioned in your problem statement. The second thing, you can use the pump and we can fill unlimited amount of water into the 3-gallon jug and 4-gallon jug using the pump. So this is not also mentioned in your problem statement. The third thing is that you can pour the water from 3-gallon jug and 4-gallon jug onto the ground. So that is also not mentioned. The fifth assumption according to me, it is that, see, you can pour the water from 3-gallon jug to the 4-gallon jug. You can also pour the water from 4-gallon jug to the 3-gallon jug. That is also the assumption. So pouring the water from one jug to the other jug, it is also the assumption. So that is what is over the 4 things I have explained: state representation, start state, goal state, and operators. Now, if anybody has doubt until this, anybody is having any doubt, so that I can move to the next slide. Okay, now we talk about the rules. Okay, see, artificial intelligence is divided into 2 types of system. The first one is rule-based system, if and then, and the second one is production system. Currently, we are solving this water jug problem using rule-based system, if and then. Later on, we will solve the same problem with the help of production system. But currently, you just understand this rule-based system, if and then. So decision making is very crucial over here. So these rules over here, there are 12 rules for this particular water jug problem. Though these rules come in pair. Okay, so I will explain you each and every rule over here. See the first rule for X and Y. Now keep in mind X for 4-gallon and Y for 3-gallon. The condition is that if X is less than 4, then we need to fill the 4-gallon jug completely. Okay, this is the first rule. If X is less than 4, then we need to fill the 4-gallon jug completely. So we'll get this 4y. X becomes 4 now. Whatsoever the value is. Whether it is, if X is 1.5 also, that means also we can apply this rule. So if X is less than 4, then we fill the 4-gallon jug completely. Now, the second rule, X, Y. Okay, if Y is less than 3, okay, if Y is less than 3, then fill the 3-gallon jug completely. That is what the second rule says. Now, if X is greater than 0, that means if some amount of water is present in 4-gallon jug, then we can pour out the water from 4-gallon jug. That's some amount of water. Okay. So if you are having something like 3 gallons of water in 4-gallon jug or 3.5, so you can pour it out 0.5. Okay. But these rules, these 3 and 4 rules, I have hardly seen them applying to the problem of water jug problem, as we don't have any markings on it. So these are very relative or vague solutions along with us. So X greater than 0, then pour some water out of 4-gallon jug. And same rule is for Y. If Y is greater than 0, means any amount of water is present, pour some water out of this 3-gallon jug. Fifth and sixth rule says that if X is greater than 0 and Y is greater than 0, you can empty the 4-gallon jug on the ground, and same thing for the Y. So you can empty the 3-gallon jug on the ground. Rule number 7 and 8. See, 7 tells you that you can pour water from 3-gallon jug into the 4-gallon jug until this 4-gallon jug is completely filled. Okay, so you need to pour the water from one jug to another jug until the next jug in which you are pouring the water is completely filled. So the 7 and 8 rule says about it. So 7th rule says that if x plus y greater than or equal to 4 and y greater than 0, then pour the water from 3-gallon jug into the 4-gallon jug until the 4-gallon jug is full. Same thing is if x plus y greater than or equals to 3, x greater than 0, then pour the water from 4-gallon jug into the 3-gallon jug until the 3-gallon jug is full. Okay. Now x comma y. Okay. So x plus y. See, this 9 and 10 rule tells you that pour all the water. See, now this first rule says that you need to pour the water until the jug is completely filled. But now the next set of rules says that whatever amount of water is that present in the one you are using to pour it into the another jug, you can pour all the water, but you don't need to think that the other jug will get completely filled. So the completely filled condition is not in this rule number 9 and 10. So you can pour all the water from 3-gallon jug into the 4-gallon jug. So same for the 10th rule. So we can pour all the water from 4-gallon jug into the 3-gallon jug. But it is not necessary or mandatory that the jug will get completely filled. 11th and 12th rule. See, if you are having a condition like 0 and 2, so it is very easy for you to achieve your goal state. Just pour the 2 gallons of water from 3-gallon jug into the 4-gallon jug. Same thing happens over here for 2y, okay, for the 12th rule. Okay. So if you want to start or make a reset of your particular problem, then what you can do is that you can empty the 2 gallons of water that is present in 4-gallon jug onto the ground. So these are the 12 rules, and using these 12 rules only, we have to come to a solution. So current state is 0, 0. Loop until you get a goal state that is 2, 0 or 2 in. Okay. So apply a rule whose left side matches the current state, and now you have to match your current state to the resulting state. So initial state is 0, 0. Which rules are applicable to this initial state? If I go and check for this all rules, rule number 1 and rule number 2, both are applicable to this current state. So it is up to you that if you want to apply the rule number 1 or rule number 2, you can apply. So here I am applying rule number 2. Okay. You people try to do it with the application of the rule number 1 at this current state. Okay, after applying rule number 2. So rule number 2 says that fill the 3-gallon jug. That is what we are doing. So the next step we get is 0, 3. So we are filling this 3-gallon jug completely. Okay. Now you have a state 0, 3. Go and check it out for the rules which match to this current state. So 0 and 3. So my y is greater than or equal to 3. So y greater than 0. The 6th one is also applicable if you want to apply. Okay. Y greater than 0. The 7th one is also applicable. Y greater than 0. 9th one is also applicable. Okay. So applying over here is rule number 9. So rule number 9 says that क्या पूछो 11th रूल नहीं लगेगा ना, 11th रूल में 0 और 2 ही है, 0 और 3 के लिए नहीं लगेगा, 2 के लिए। So second rule is current state is 0, 3. So what the rule here matches, no, like you can also apply rule number 6, because y is greater than 0, that you can do. Okay, the next thing you can apply 7th rule, that is y, sorry, 7th rule is not applicable, and here it should be, so 7th and 8th rule are also not applicable, because x plus y is should be greater than or equals to 3, and x should be greater than 0. That is not the condition we are able to match over here. So the next rule that comes with me is x plus y, this is less than 4, okay, and y is greater than 0, yes. So this 9th rule is applicable to my current state, that is 0, 3. So I'm applying 9th rule over here. So in 9th rule it is said that pour all the water from 3-gallon jug into the 4-gallon jug. Okay, so what we did is we pour the water from 3-gallon jug to the 4-gallon jug. Again, we are applying rule number 2. So we are filling this particular 3-gallon jug. Now rule number 7. What is it? Rule number 7. X plus y, it is greater than or equals to 4. Okay, 3 plus 3, 6, greater than 4. And y is greater than 0. Okay, my condition is satisfied. Y is greater than 0. So now we can apply rule number 7. What rule number 7 says that pour water from 3-gallon jug into the 4-gallon jug until the 4-gallon jug is full. Okay, so pouring the water from 3-gallon jug to the 4-gallon jug until the jug is completely filled. So we get a 4, 2. So now what we do, we empty this 4-gallon jug. So rule number 5 is applied, that we are pouring all the water from 4-gallon jug onto the ground. So we have 0, 2. Okay. At this place, you can apply rule number 9 and rule number 11. Both are valid. Okay. So rule number 9 and rule number 11, both are valid at this current state. So applying 9 rule over here, if you can want to apply 11 rule, you can apply 11 rule over here. And this is how we reach to our goal state 2, 0. Now, I would like you to work for 5 minutes. Okay. It's to you can find it on internet about this particular water jet problem rules. Okay. So 5 minutes and get me a new solution that is not 2, 0. So I need a solution to 1, 2, 2, 2, 3. Okay. So that is an acceptable solution by applying the rule. So I'm giving you 5 minutes for this task, and you are requested to come up with a new solution by applying the rule. 5 minutes, start working. Okay. I will share my screen for the rules if you want. Okay, time's up. 4013 कौन सा रूल अप्लाई किया? 4013 में 13 में कौन सा रूल अप्लाई किया? 124 empty the with 3 gallon transfer 1 gallon to this one. Fill the 4 gallon jug. हाँ समझ में आ गया. वो वाला रूल यूज किया कि pour all the water from 4 gallon jug to the 3 gallon jug until the 3 gallon jug is completely filled. Okay. फिर आपने 3 gallon jug को empty कर दिया. Now we are transferring this 1 gallon of water to the 3 gallon jug and 4 में से आप 4 को completely fill कर देगा. ठीक है, आपका solution सही है. So I will ask the class to find more solutions if they can. But in the meantime, I need to teach you two things. Okay, I need to summarize this topic. Okay. We have seen two problems. The first problem was of chess, and the second problem we have is of water jug problem. So both the problems we have seen today. What we were doing is that we were converting the informal statements to the formal ones. Same for the chess, we divided for 8 cross 8 array. Rows we labeled with the numbers and columns we labeled it with the alphabets. Okay, that's the thing we did for the chess problem. And for the water jug problem, we represented it using variables x and y. So in both the tasks, what we did is that we were converting the informal statements to the formal statements. And in this process of converting the informal statements to the formal statements, it is known as operationalization. So converting the informal problem statements to the formal problem statements, it is known as operationalization. Okay. So now I'm starting a new topic, that is production system, and I'm defining you the production system. Okay, just concentrate on what I speak because it is theory, and if I open the PPT or the content from the book, it might be too late and we won't be able to complete it even with the definition also. Okay, so just concentrate on what I speak. Students, see, in between this discussion of water jug problem, I told you that two kinds of AI systems we used to have, that is rule-based system and the other one is the production system. So what is this production system? The production system is composed of 4 components. The first component of production system is the set of rules. Set of rules, what are set of rules? We have just seen the set of rules. Okay, the first component of production system is the set of rules. So whatever the problem you must be having, it would be composed of a set of rules. The second component of production system is the knowledge or database. प्लीज जिसका माइक ऑन हो वो टर्न ऑफ कर दे. जिसका माइक ऑन है. So the second component of production system is knowledge, or you can say database. A huge amount of knowledge or database would be required to solve any problem if you are building a production system for it. The water jug problem is a very small problem and it is the initial step just to get to know what happens during the process of problem solving and building an AI system. But see, there are many other problems as compared to the water jug problems. So there would be a huge amount of data concerned with the problem. Then there will be a huge amount of rules. Okay, a control strategy. See, if I want to say control strategy, other word, then it is what we call this algorithm. Okay, so algorithm is needed in a production system. Why? Let me explain. See, when we were solving this water jug problem, we were matching our current state, that is this particular current state, with each and every rule that we are having. At this current moment, there are only 12 rules, and it is very easy for us to just go back to those rules and match our current state with the conditions given over here. But what if I have 1200 rules? It is not possible for me to go and check my current state with 1200 rules. So at that time, I would need a control strategy. What a control strategy or algorithm tells you that in this manner you have to apply the rule so that you can reach to your goal state. The control strategy, where it controls the way you are applying the rule. Here I am having no control. See, here one was applying rule number 2, one was applying rule number 1, one was applying rule number 9, one was applying rule number 11. So there is no control strategy or there is no specific manner in which you are required to apply the rule. But in a production system, there would be a control strategy. That means that you have to apply the rule in this manner only. Okay. The fourth component of the production system is a rule applier. Rule applier means a programming language. So I summarize the definition of production system, that your production system, the one you are building an AI, a system you are building to solve your artificial intelligence problem. What it will be having, it will be composed of 4 components. The first component is a set of rules. So you are well aware with what rules are, and it is like if and then. The second component is knowledge or databases. The third component is a control strategy, means that in which manner you are going to apply the rule. The fourth one is a rule applier. So if these 4 things are present, then you can say that you are building an AI production system. Got it? Now the next topic is about control strategy. See, we discussed the control strategy or we discussed the algorithm. So what it takes to be a good algorithm? What it takes to be a good algorithm? What are the requirements for it to be a good algorithm? Okay, so I'm discussing about the requirements for it to be a good algorithm. The first requirement is that for a good control strategy or for a good algorithm is that it should cause motion. You should not get stuck at one point. See, what if suppose I'm getting stuck at this state 03. I'm not able to find a new state that is 30. Okay. So if I'm getting stuck at particular step in my algorithm, then it is not a good algorithm. So whatever the problem you are solving and it is not causing you motion. Motion means it should cause your motion from current state or initial state to the goal state. But if the algorithm fails, that it cannot move you along from the initial state or current state to your goal state, then this algorithm is not causing motion. Okay, so it means that you are not converging towards your goal state. So such an algorithm is not called a good algorithm. The second requirement for the control strategy is that it should be systematic. The meaning of systematic is that not only local motion should be created, but global motion should also be created. See, for example, for this particular problem, what is the problem? You are having solution 20212223. Now, say me that this particular solution is the best one. Ma'am, 20 solution is the best solution. Very less number of steps and we reach to the solution. Okay. So 2-1, is it a best solution, optimal solution? 2-2, is it a best solution or optimal solution? See, currently we are not having a control strategy or algorithm. Your algorithm should give you the optimal or best solution. Your algorithm should provide you that out of this 1, 2, 3, 4 solutions, this solution is the optimal. There, you are also telling that I'm reaching to the solution, but I'm reaching to the best solution which we can have for this particular problem. So that is the meaning of systematic. The 2 conditions or requirements for your algorithm or control strategy That is, first, it should cause motion, and the second one, it should be systematic. Later on, we will discuss two techniques in our extra lecture, 245 to 325 at max I will take. I am going to discuss two control strategies for production system. If you are going to be absent, I will skip this topic because once I have delayed the lecture, this time I will not going to delay. Whatsoever number of students will be present, I will teach them. I have downloaded the attendance. 70 students are present. Okay. So if you want to leave the lecture, you can leave. If you are having any doubt, you can discuss it. Anybody is having any doubt? Okay, then I'm terminating the meeting.